Hi everybody, it is Miss Ellis here with my 7th at home learning lesson with you. This is now the 4th in a little mini unit on Moon Bear. So the previous 3 books, if you have not read them, please go back and do those because that will really deepen the kind of thinking you can do with the book we're going to read today. So today we are reading, as I said, the fourth one. This is called Bear Shadow. If you are looking to borrow these books or buy these books, as they did new printings of this, sometimes it was called Moon Bear's Shadow, but it is the same story. And the cover might look different, but it's the same story. So this is called Bear Shadow by Frank Asch. So in order to get some ideas of what might happen in this one, have your child take a moment to think about, nope, not that one, the last one we read, which was Moon Cake. Have your child tell you what happened in this story. What do you remember? Pause here so they can tell you, and then we'll continue on. So thinking about what you remember from this story, use that to help you make a prediction about this, our last Moon Bear story for today, Bear Shadow. So thinking again about what you've seen in the stories before, what you see in the illustration, and what you see in the title. Put those 3 things together and come up with a prediction. What might happen in this story? So adults, pause here so that your child can think and then talk together about what they're thinking. Ready? So now, let's think back. Some of the patterns we've been noticing so far in the books that we've been reading by Frank Asch. Let's see. So far we've noticed simple things like this picture. Sorry, it's rocking the computer. Like this picture inside the front cover. We've noticed a series of 4 pictures after the title page, giving us hints about what's coming in the book. We've noticed that Moon Bear gets kind of confused sometimes about things that he should know. We've noticed that the moon was in a couple of these stories. And we've noticed that a lot of the books began with a statement like one day, one night, or in this one, one summer day. So let's start our next one and see our last one and see if any of these patterns continue. So we've got Bear Shadow. Let's open up to that first page and see. There it is, a little hint. Now it's hard to tell with this low light. It's such a cloudy day today, but there's a little bit of an outline of a shadow on that wall. Bear Shadow. Oh, there they are. Let's see. Look really carefully and see if you can tell what's changing in these pictures, because it's just the ground, the tree, and the sky with the sun in each picture. So if we look really carefully, look at that shadow. The sun is over here, and it makes a shadow this way. Now, in the next one, where's the sun? It's right above. Oops, above. And where's the shadow? There's no shadow because the sun is right above. And then if we look at the third one, the sun is over here, and it makes the shadow go in the other direction. And then last one is nighttime where there's no shadow again. So just like in those other books, we can be super clever and use those little clues to help us figure out what's going to happen in this story. One day, oh, there it is. One day, Bear went down to the pond with his fishing pole and a big can of worms. While he was putting a worm on the hook, he looked down and saw a big fish. I'm going to catch that fish, thought Bear to himself. But when Bear stood up to throw his line in the water, his shadow scared the big fish away. So if you can see right over here, his shadow went into the water and it scared the fish. Go away, shadow, cried Bear. But Bear's shadow wouldn't go away. So turn and talk about what just happened. Pause here so you can discuss. Now that you've had a chance to talk about it, I want to make sure you understand what happened. So the bear stood up and see where the sun is? The sun is way over here. So what's that doing to his shadow? It's making it go this way into the water, and that scared away the fish. Bear wants his shadow to go away, but can the shadow just go away? Nope. Okay, said Bear. If you won't go on your own, then I'll just have to get rid of you. And he put down his fishing pole and began to run. He ran around the pond. When he got to the other side, he kept on running. Do you think running is going to make his shadow go away? He ran through a field of flowers, jumped over the brook, and hid behind a tree. Good, thought Bear. Now Shadow can't find me. Do you think that's going to work? The bear was wrong. When he stepped out from behind the tree, the first thing he saw was his shadow. Nearby was a cliff. Bear walked over to the cliff and looked up. I'll climb so high, Shadow won't be able to follow me, thought Bear. Is that going to work? Bear climbed higher and higher until at last he pulled himself up to the top. Huffing and puffing, he smiled with pride. Then he looked down and saw his shadow. So pause here, family, and talk about why isn't Bear able to get rid of his shadow? What things has he tried and why haven't they worked? So Bear has tried what things to get rid of his shadow? Why haven't they worked? So hopefully you've already talked about it together and you're playing the video again. So let's go back and review. What has he tried so far? The first thing he tried was what? Yeah, running. He tried running away. Did that work? Nope. Next thing he tried was jumping over things. Hiding behind a tree. They didn't work either. He tried climbing a cliff. That also didn't work. There's his shadow back with him. Now, Bear was very annoyed. So he went home and got a hammer and some nails to nail his shadow to the ground. He hammered and hammered and hammered, but no matter how many nails he hammered, he couldn't nail his shadow down. If I can't nail him down, thought Bear, maybe I can bury him. So he got his shovel and dug a hole. When the hole was deep and wide, he let his shadow fall in the hole. Maybe that'll work. Look, there he is standing right on the edge of the hole, and you can see his shadow right in the hole. Then Bear filled the hole with dirt. Look, there's no shadow. Turn and talk. Why can't he see his shadow right now? Pause the video. So hopefully you came up with some ideas about why Bear can't see his shadow right now. Do you think he really buried it in that hole? You're good detectives. I bet you found. Look where the sun is. It's right up above Bear. And when the sun is right above us, it doesn't make a shadow, just like we saw in the clues way back at the beginning. Right? Just like we saw in this picture. There's the sun right above the tree, so there's no shadow for the tree. Then Bear filled in the hole with dirt. When he was finished, it was almost noon. The sun was high in the sky, and shadow was nowhere to be seen. At last, sighed Bear. No more shadow. But now Bear was very tired, so he went inside and took a little nap. While he slept, time passed, and the sun once again cast shadows everywhere. So this is a lot like those 4 pictures at the beginning. We see the shadow is up above. Sorry, the sun is up above. There's no shadow, but then as the sun moves, so does the shadow. So if we look back at the beginning to those 4 little clues, at the beginning, here's the sun, and there's the shadow this way. But by the afternoon, when the sun is on the other side, the shadow's on the other side too. So that's just what's happening in the story. While he slept, time passed, and the sun once again cast shadows everywhere. When Bear got up and opened his door, he saw his shadow on the floor. "Not you again!" exclaimed Bear. And he slammed the door, hoping to lock Shadow inside. But Shadow was too quick. Sighed Bear. How about this? If you let me catch a fish, I'll let you catch one too. Nod your head like this if you agree. Oh, sorry. Nod your head like this if it's a deal. When Bear nodded his head, what did the shadow do? The shadow nodded his head too. So Bear went back to the pond and once again threw his line in the water. By this time, the sun was in a different part of the sky, which made it easy for Shadow to keep his part of the deal. So look, right in front of Bear, no shadow. If we look back to before, in front of Bear, there's his shadow because the sun was up over here, making his shadow go this way. But now, now his shadow is back over here because the sun is way up here on this side, making his shadow go the other direction. By this time, the sun was in a different part of the sky, which made it easy for Shadow to keep his part of the deal. And when Bear caught that big fish, Shadow caught one too. Great job. So now let's take a second to think. Let's turn you back to face me here. Why was Bear able to catch a fish at the end, but not at the beginning? Pause here and turn and talk about it. Why could Bear catch a fish at the end, but not at the beginning? So now you've talked about that question. So did Bear really make a deal with his shadow? Did his shadow really allow him to catch a fish? No. The sun changed and his shadow moved from in front of him to behind him, making it easy for him to catch a fish. So we made predictions about Moon Bear books from the other 3 stories. We made a prediction about that circle at the beginning, and we did find that. That was there. We made a prediction about those 4 images. They were there to give us clues. We made a prediction that it might be about the moon, because 2 of our books were about the moon. Was this one about the moon? No, this one was really more about the sun. We made a prediction that Bear might get confused, because in this story, he thought he was dancing with the moon, but it was a puddle. In this story, he thought he was eating the moon, but it was snow. In this story, he thought the sky was on fire, but it was a rainbow. So what would the statement be for this one? He thought, but... So try that sentence. Moon Bear thought, but... Pause the video, try that sentence, and then we'll come back together. So you've talked about that. Now, Moon Bear thought he had tricked his shadow, but really, the sun just changed direction. So it was another time when he got confused. And the last theme was we noticed this theme of weather, right? This was about raining and rainbows. This was about seasons. This was about rain and clouds. What about this one? Does that have to do with weather? Yeah, it has to do with the sun and the direction of that sunlight, which is part of weather too. So far, a lot of the things we noticed really held true in the stories. And I hope you really enjoyed Moon Bear. I love his stuff, and I hope you enjoyed. So now that we're at the end of this mini unit, right, we've read 4 books about Moon Bear. So now it's time for me to give you some project ideas of things you can do to extend your learning at home. So here's the first idea. The first idea is something that my students have done before, which is to write your own Moon Bear story. So Moon Bear has all these adventures where he gets confused. You could think of your own adventure for Moon Bear. You just have to think of a natural phenomenon or some fact about the world he might not understand, and think about what story you could create around that idea. So it's really fun. The biggest work is the beginning, which is thinking about what he could get confused about, what the story could be about. And then once you've brainstormed that, you can think about what will happen in the rest of your story. So that's the first activity you could do. The second activity you could do is trying out the shadows like you just saw in this story. So if you were to get a small toy, a Lego piece or a figurine or a small stuffed animal, and turn off the lights in your room but get a flashlight, you can try moving the sun around and seeing how the shadow changes. So you can try out to really understand how he was finally able to catch a fish. And the third and final, and my favorite idea, is to actually write to Moon Bear. So Moon Bear has his own part of the website from Frank Asch, and this is the author, Frank Asch, right here on the back. He writes and illustrates all these books. He has a website for you to write to Moon Bear. And my students have been doing this for years. And the coolest thing is Moon Bear always writes back. So you can write an email to Moon Bear, ask him questions, tell him about you, and he'll always write back. It's a really fun way to practice your thinking like we just did together. So I hope you enjoyed the stories. I hope you enjoy the projects. If you come up with something great, please share. If you come up with your own ideas, please share, because the more we share ideas together, the more other people can benefit. So Thank you for joining me. And when you come back to lesson 8, next time we're going to be starting a new mini unit. So I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.